Hey there, I'm going to show you how to use ShotCut to do some really simple video editing. ShotCut is a free open source video editor that you can run on PCs, Macs, Linux, what have you. It's not maybe the easiest piece of software to use, but honestly, most video editing software is somewhat challenging. You are, after all, doing some fairly complicated activities. What I'm going to do is just grab a couple of videos from my Google Photos and stitch them together. That's sort of the main goal here, because if you're preparing your final presentation, you might have a collection of video clips, and what you want to do is just kind of be able to cut them and stitch them together and create a single final piece of video. So I'm going to go over, well, first of all, I already have ShotCut installed, but what you want to do first of all is make sure that you're getting your software from shotcut.org. If you just search for ShotCut on Google, the first few hits are actually maybe a little bit sketchy. These ad-supported ones, I don't like the URLs on these, but if you scroll down, you get shotcut.org, and that is the correct version. Go to download and just grab the current version. If you're a Windows user, you just want to grab the 64-bit Windows installer. For other platforms like Mac, again, just click on Mac, Linux, etc. All right, so like I said, I'm going to grab a couple of videos from my Google Drive. Here's one of Mill Creek that I took a couple of days ago. Let me see if I can figure out how to download it. So I clicked on the video, I clicked download, and I'm just going to save it, and hopefully it landed in my download directory. Looks like it did. All right, and let me go grab this one of some wheat blowing in the wind, and let me download that and just save it into the default location. All right, so I've got a couple of video clips now, and they should both be sitting in my download directory. There they are. All right, the next thing I want to do is run ShotCut. Depending on whether you're using Windows or Mac, your results might vary. You run ShotCut and it pulls up just an empty editing window, ready to receive your files. Once again, I'm just showing you how to kind of stitch together and cut video clips. It can do a lot more than that, but we'll just keep it simple here. I'm going to pull up the playlist window by clicking on this playlist tab. And what you have to do is first get your raw video into ShotCut. And this is a drag and drop operation. So I just dragged the field stuff in there, and now I'm going to drag the Mill Creek stuff in there. So I've got these, for lack of a better term, we'll call them assets. Right now they're not doing anything. They're just there available for you to play around with. You can highlight the different ones. If you double click, this preview window will switch to the videos. And you can preview them, or you can drag them down onto the timeline. Drag and drop. And what I've done now is I've started my movie editing process, and this is my main video. So I dragged that thing down there, and I can kind of move around in it by clicking on this black bar, and I can note the time that I am in this video. So this is 6 seconds into the video, this is 1 second into the video, and so on. I probably don't need all of that video, and also it's kind of noisy, so maybe I could mute the video if I wanted to with this little icon down here. I'm just going to leave it alone for now. I'll let you explore that if you want. And then I'll attach the other one. So So just drag it down onto the timeline right next to it. So I dragged it and dropped it. There's this gap here between this video and this video. You might want to drop other videos in there, but I'm just trying to put these things end to end. So I'm going to drag that second video and just put it right up against the first video. And if you move it, it'll snap into place. And that means there's no gap between here and here. And if I put my cursor there and I hit play, you'll see that it transitions from one video to another perfectly smoothly now. If I want to get really sophisticated, or even not really sophisticated, but a little bit sophisticated, I can click on this clip and I can add a filter. For example, I can add a video fade in to this clip. So fade in video, and I can add a fade out video. And maybe I'll add a fade in audio, and maybe I'll add a fade out audio. All of these have been applied to this clip. I highlight this clip, all those filters go away, but I could add them again. For example, I could add the fade in video, I could add a fade in audio, add a fade out video, and add a fade out audio. Now those are all in play on both clips. So the transition from this clip to this clip will look a little bit better. And then the transition at the end of this clip, you'll see a fade out of both audio and video. Again, these are niceties that we're not really expecting from your presentation, but feel free to play around with it. Having good, intermediate video editing skills is definitely a useful thing. Once you've got this timeline all squared away and you've glued the clips together, you can export. Let me just show you one more thing before I do that. Let's look at this video again. As I start to pan, I notice that there's a bit of jumpiness. I'm not a big fan of that jumpiness, so what I'm going to do is just kind of clip this video right when it starts to move. So right here, I'm 13 seconds into the entire enterprise. I'm going to insert a clip right there. So I haven't done anything. If I play this, I won't notice the clip. But what I've done is I've split this piece of video into two pieces. I'm just going to discard that piece by hitting cut. So click on that piece so that it's highlighted with a red border and cut. Now my video is shorter. I still have the fade in video and the fade in audio, but since I clipped off the latter half, I'm going to have to reinstall my fade out audio and my fade out video. So now they're back in place. I can preview this again. I see the transition and then the fade out, and I've got, I've edited it. So I've shown you how to kind of cut clips in half. I've shown you how to add clips together. This thing is now ready to be exported to a final form. Go up to the Export tab. There are many, many, many options here for different video codecs that you can use. Just use the default, some of these default ones up here. I use the H.264 main profile one. That is the most widely accepted video codec that you can use. Also, the default encoding here is a very, very high bit rate, much higher than is necessary. So what I typically do is I go to the video, the advanced tab. So let me uncheck that. So by default, you choose main profile, you get this default export menu, and you could click export file and it would create the file for you, no problem. But it's going to create a massive file by default, and that's not really desirable. Click the advanced button here. This gives you extra control over how the file is exported. Go to the codec tab, and what you're going to do is set the bit rate of the output. I'm going to set the average bit rate. 12 megabits per second is massive. I'm going to knock it down to a much more comfortable, even a still pretty high quality 2 megabits per second, not 12 megabits per second. That's the only change I'm going to make. So remember, change the rate control to average, change the bit rate to 2. Higher numbers mean higher quality output, but really not necessary in this case. And then click Export File. You're going to be prompted for a file name, and I'll just call it example, ShotCut example maybe. Click Save, and you'll see in the upper right-hand corner it starts to go to work. For longer videos, this is going to take longer, but this is a really short video. The green check mark means that it's done. Be patient here. This can take quite a while. Let me go and see what it's done. So I'm going to go to the desktop here, and I see there's this new file called shotcutexample.mp4. If I click on it, it'll pull up my video player. And I see the first half of this thing. And then the transition to the second half, and then the fade out. That's all there is to it. Once you've created your final video, you can just upload that to Canvas, and I'll take care of it from there, move it into the various discussion categories. Hopefully this will help. I've used ShotCut for many years, and I find it's very capable, and there's a lot of great online help because it's free, open source, runs on lots of platforms. Talk to you later.